Welcome back to Edu Skills OET Made Easy. Our mission is to make you fall in love with OET. If you're watching this on YouTube, kindly consider subscribing to the channel. Give us a thumbs up if you like our work, and please share to your contacts so that we reach out to maximum number of OET aspirants, especially those who are financially struggling to crack OET. That is the mission of Edu Skills. And as of now, today we are going to deal with listening C and a beautiful segment. Just listen to what the context says. So listen.
Extract 2, questions 37 to 42. You hear a rheumatologist called Michael Evans talking about osteoarthritis. You now have 90 seconds to read questions 37 to 42.
So you have 90 seconds just to read these 6 questions. So it's a good deal of time where you can read and find out. Your business is to find out the hedging words or the key words in the question as well as in the answer options. So the method is QAT, question, answer options, then text. That's a method for multiple choice questions with 3 options. Now here, what is important is about osteoarthritis. So the context is about osteoarthritis, then you should be able to foresee what they can speak about osteoarthritis. Possibly what will be the details. Just maybe it's all fraction of seconds that you think the foreseeing happens. And some people have the concern, will we be able to go through all these strategies and steps during the exam? No, you aren't going to do that. You are just going to practice until you reach competency. After that, as I told you, sometimes I'll tell you, once you reach the competency in the advanced sessions, I'll show you maybe half of the questions can be answered even without reading the text or listening to the audio. Or you choose the answer, then listening to the audio is only a confirmation of your selection. Because question 37 to 30, rheumatologist. That's important. Talking about osteoarthritis. These are important aspects. Now, the next part is this.
Hello, I'm Michael Evans. I want to tell you about the work we're doing on a condition that affects 1 in 10 people in this country, and that's osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis typically affects the knees, hips or hands when the cartilage that lines the joints starts to wear away.
A little more information is given here about osteoarthritis. Typically affects the knees, hips or hands when the cartilage that lines the joints starts to wear away. So a bit more information is given there. They are going to speak about knees, hips or hands. This context will help you to identify the
Hello,
answer.
I'm Michael.
What does Michael suggest about helping patients with osteoarthritis? A, it's as easiest when the patient is young. B, it may involve dealing with a range of problems. C, it will be more difficult if the condition is genetic.
Now, just tell me here, what is the keyword in the question statement?
Suggest.
Yeah, suggest. What does it say? Opinion. Yeah, suggestion or opinion of the, and opinion about helping the patients with osteoarthritis. Now, let's see opinion. If you have attended my previous sessions, you know how to identify between facts and opinion. Just reading the 3 options, tell me which could be the opinion word. As I've told you, there are modal verbs which will guide you to the answer. Now, is there a modal verb in any of these options which speaks about an opinion?
B. It may involve.
Yeah, it may involve. Now, in this session, I'm going to teach you more of advanced thing as like how to apply the strategies. Now, this is our prediction. Okay, this is not sure. We haven't listened to the audio. So this is our prediction because they are asking for a suggestion. And the first one says it is easiest when the patient is young. And second one says may. Third one says it will be more difficult if the condition is genetic. It will be is speculation. Speaking about the future. What does Michael suggest? What does? So that is about present. What does he suggest? So present tense, future tense, and the first one is a factual statement. Can you have a factual statement about opinion?
No.
No. Opinion is never a factual statement. So ultimately, if you know, the first one is it's going to happen is a factual statement. Second one is may involve dealing with a range of problems. It is an opinion. May is a modal verb. That's the gives us the test of opinion. And third one, it will be more difficult, means speculation, speaking about the future. So in that way also you can identify. Definitely later I'll explain to you all these three aspects. Now let's listen and try. Now we are going to confirm whether our selection, second one is the answer selected by you, whether it is correct, why it is correct. Listen attentively, okay?
So, how can we help patients with osteoarthritis? When I was at medical school, and that's a long time ago now, the theory was that it was due to wear and tear, an inevitable part of getting old. You still sometimes hear this, but it's one of the many myths about the condition. After all, we have teenagers who develop it, and every joint has the capacity for repair. So we should think of osteoarthritis as a situation where processes for tissue repair are overwhelmed by destructive processes that often relate to injury, weight, and mechanical load factors. But there are also other risk factors. Genetics may play an important role, and occupation makes a difference too, of course.
Now listen once again. Listen to a modal verb that speaks about suggestion. What is the modal verb for suggestion, advice, or recommendation?
Should.
Recommendation, advice, or suggestion is should. So listen for should, okay? Is there a should in the audio? And does it connect in any way to the answer?
So how can we help patients with osteoarthritis? When I was at medical school, and that's a long time ago now, the theory was that it was due to wear and tear, an inevitable part of getting old. You still sometimes hear this, but it's one of the many myths about the condition. After all, we have teenagers who develop it, and every joint has the capacity for repair. So we should think of osteoarthritis as a situation where processes for tissue repair are overwhelmed by destructive processes that often relate to injury, weight, and mechanical load factors. But there are also other risk factors. Genetics may play an important role, and occupation makes a difference too, of course.
Did you hear the should?
Yes, Father. Yes,
What do they say after should?
We
What
should
does they
think
speak?
that you should think about the
Should think about.
Yeah. Then what are the things so should? Listen once again. Now the thing is this. Just listen to the topic sentence and its connection to the question statement.
So how can we help patients with osteoarthritis?
That is a topic sentence. Does it have any connection to the question statement?
Yes, Father. Helping.
Yes, Father.
Introducing
Yeah.
the topic.
Yeah, how can we help the patients with osteoarthritis? That is the question. Now, the topic sentence contains the statement, question statement, clearly. And now, listen to the first part where the author concludes, the audio concludes saying, this is one of the many myths. You know what is myth, right?
Yes.
Myth means unrealistic beliefs, superstitious beliefs. No, so first one, you listen clearly. What does he speak after the topic sentence? Until should appears. He is speaking something and saying this is all a myth. Means that is not fact. We are not bothered about it. Yes.
When I was at medical school, and that's a long time ago now, the theory was that it was due to wear and tear, an inevitable part of getting old. You still sometimes hear this, but it's one of the many myths about the condition. After all, we have teenagers who develop it, and every joint has the capacity for repair. So we should think of.
Now, after should, he speaks what is the condition. Then he says so many things. Try to write down, maybe in your short form, what does he speak about after this statement, which includes should. I'm going to play it again.
So we should think of osteoarthritis as a situation where processes for tissue repair are overwhelmed by destructive processes that often relate to injury, weight, and mechanical load factors. But there are also other risk factors. Genetics may play an important role, and occupation makes a difference too, of course.
Any idea?
Yes, Father.
Yes.
Many other risk factors. Does it connect to any of the answer options?
Yes, Father. Because they are
Range
telling
of
risk
problem.
factors like genetic and
Range of
occupation.
problem. Range of problem.
Okay,
Many
range
other
of problem. So is there any indication about it's easiest when the patient is young?
No, Father.
No, Father.
Is it-
No, Father.
Hey, Actually, it's a judgmental statement. Such statements may not be true at all, because it's saying only when you are young, the teenagers or children, it's easy to help you. Once you are elderly, you cannot help. Medical health professionals cannot help elderly people who have osteoarthritis. That's not a real statement. Okay, third one, it will be more difficult if the condition is genetic. If the condition is genetic, that is about which tense? It is speculation,
Future.
means speaking,
Future.
prediction. Yeah, it is prediction. But the question is in present tense, right? What does? The question is in present tense, answer must not be speculation. So let's check with the question now with the script once. Listen and read, okay? This is the multitask, because you have to practice multitasking. Listening, reading, and writing. In your exam, you have to listen to the audio, you have to keep reading the question, then you have to mark the answer. So this multitasking happens in your listening subtest. Now listen and read the script. Along with that, try to mark the details that leads to answer.
So, how can we help patients with osteoarthritis? When I was at medical school, and that's a long time ago now, the theory was that it was due to wear and tear, an inevitable part of getting old. You still sometimes hear this, but it's one of the many myths about the condition. After all, we have teenagers who develop it, and every joint has the capacity for repair. So we should think of osteoarthritis as a situation where processes for tissue repair are overwhelmed by destructive processes that often relate to injury, weight, and mechanical load factors. But there are also other risk factors. Genetics may play an important role, and occupation makes a difference too, of course.
Now you see the topic sentence in the question format. So how can we help the patients with osteoarthritis? So this one is helping patients with osteoarthritis. So the question statement is in the topic sentence. Such analysis helps you to concentrate on the topic and also to move with the audio. So this is, as you read, you should be familiar with this suggest as well as this topic sentence or the topic of the question. That is the helping patients with osteoarthritis. So immediately as you listen to this statement, here is the crux, or here is the paragraph, or here the audio is moving. So when I was at medical school, and just ignore what is between commas. Yeah, 2 commas. So that you beat the time. You need not read that doesn't make any difference in your understanding the paragraph. So that's all compliments. When I was at medical school, the theory was that it was due to wear and tear. So theory was, which gives a suggestion that it is not now. When I was small, that was the theory. But today it has changed. That is the tone of the sentence. Now, see, the theory, you still sometimes hear the same theory, but it is one of the many myths. Means it's false belief. Yeah. So, he is negating that. That is not going to be the thing. He is not suggesting that. He is disagreeing with that particular argument. After all, we have teenagers who develop it. Again, he is saying this theory is not right. What was the theory? The theory was that it was due to wear and tear, an inevitable part of getting old. Only elderly can have osteoarthritis was the theory, but he just negates it. He refuses or rejects that theory. And he says, after all, we have teenagers who develop it. Even teenagers are suffering from osteoarthritis. So the first part, almost this part, 50% of it is rejected. But he has rejected that argument. So what does it suggest? That cannot be his suggestion at all. So what happens next? And every joint has a red pattern. Now, here you have modal verb. Should think of osteoarthritis as a situation where processes for tissue repair are overwhelmed by destructive processes that often relate to injury, weight, mechanical load. Yes. Then other risk factors like genetics. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, occupation, next one. So these are the different risk factors given after should. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here they say it may involve dealing with a range of problems. Helping patients means you have to deal with all these problems. Did you get the idea? This is the gist. The whole second part gist is that if you are to help the patients, this is going to involve all these factors or these problems, range of problems. That's how you confirm the answer. Actually, it was not required because you said there is a may which denotes opinion, right? And you selected this answer as the final answer, B, even before listening to the audio. And were you right? Yes. Suggest may. And both these, one is a factual statement, other observation is a speculative statement. So even in that, so first strategy is that you see the modal verb and identify the answer, try to eliminate other answers. Okay. And second thing is look at the tense. If the question is in present tense, speculative statements cannot be the answer. Or if it is giving suggestion, if it's speaking about opinion, a factual statement can never be the answer. Due to the heavy rain, 5,000 people may die, but I can't say 5,000 people will die. That will be a factual statement. I cannot speak about the future with confirmation. I have to say may die or might die, all those probabilities. Hope that is clear, right? Yes. If you want to have if you want to have a revision, just let's have a glance at this. What is modal verb and how to use it? See, when you are reading, writing, or listening, so what we are doing now is not only listening practice. We are having reading practice. We are also practicing writing and listening. Now, you see, when you are reading, writing, or listening, it is important to be able to tell the difference between statements of fact and statements of opinion. Expressing opinion. How do you express opinion? Two ways: using modal verbs or using phrases. And what are they? Expressing opinion using modal verbs. This is present tense. May, might is the past tense. Speaks about possibility, probability, maybe, might be. It's not a factual thing. So it speaks about opinion. When you speak of opinion, you have to use may or might. Okay? Should. Shall is the present form, but you don't require in OET as of now. So should. Suggestion, recommendation, advice. That's what we have seen just now. And must is the past tense is had to. So mandatory, obligation, and necessity. Hope you know these things. So should and must is different. You should do something means is a suggestion, advice. You can do or you may not. But when I say you must do the task every day, there is no go. You no excuse. If you don't do the task, you will be removed from the batch or you will be penalized. So should is suggestion or recommendation. Must is mandatory or obligation or necessary, necessity. Can is present and could is past, possibility. Speaking about possibility or ability. Expressing opinion using phrases. I said two ways of expressing opinion. One is using modal verbs. Second one is using phrases. Keywords to listen for. When you listen to the audio, you have to listen to these words. I believe, I think, I argue, I feel, in my opinion, in my view. These are the phrases being used to speak about opinion in the audio. As soon as you listen to these words, or as soon as you see these words in the question, or when you see the words like suggest or says, someone says, or author suggests or says, then you know it's speaking about an opinion. And now expressing opinion using phrases, just see the examples, keywords to listen for, I said. Now, these vary from formal to informal. Usually in your conversation, you may have informal sayings. For example, talking with your friends, with my friends, or somebody informal language, you say, I think, I believe. And in a class or tutorial, you can say, in my opinion, or in my view. When I take a session, I don't say, I think, I believe. Usually I say, in my opinion, or in my view, this is what I want to say. Formal talk or writing an essay, you say it is believed, or it is thought. You don't say, I. Formally, in the formal writing, you don't use pronouns. It is not essential now for you to just know how they use these things. Now, speculation, language choices, future predictions, or speculating about the future. You have two choices. One is using verbs, other one is using modal verbs. What are the verbs that will be used to express speculation? That is think, guess, I hope, I suspect, I imagine, I suppose, and I expect. All these are the verbs will be used in your audio or reading text or your script to suggest they are speaking about the future. And the modal verbs is we may, people might, there could be, it will be, it would be. So in this option, we had will, the future, speculation, this expression, fourth one.